Hi friends, it's Miss Hannah here. Today we are going to read, Papi, how many stars are in the sky? How many stars do you guys think are in the sky? Whenever they visited their grandparents' farm, Ariana, Carlos, and Maria gathered after dinner to listen to their grandfather's stories. On warm nights, they sat out on the porch with grandfather rocking peacefully in his old wooden rocking chair. He always waited until dusk to begin. Like children everywhere, the children had a favorite story, and like grandparents everywhere, the grandfather never got tired of telling it. That night was a perfect night for the story. As they looked up at the evening sky, just beginning to fill with its bright, shiny stars, the children began to chant, "Papi, how many stars are in the sky?" Whoop. Papi gazed lovingly at each of his grandchildren and asked them, "How many do you think?" Carlos raised his arm to the starry darkness, saying, "There must be a zillion. The grandfather laughed heartily. "Well, mijo, that is pretty close. Maybe we better count them, but first I have to tell you the story about the stars and why they are in the sky." And knowing the story was about to begin, the children pulled themselves even closer to their grandfather. Ariana nestled comfortably in his lap while the others leaned against his legs. Just as he had countless times before, Papi gazed up at the stars and pointed his weathered finger. "You see, children, every time a child is born, a new star is added to the sky, and that star shines forever for the child. That is why there are so many bright shining stars. Every child is a gift from the universe, and each star is the story of the child's life." As they listened, the children dreamily searched the starry sky, imagining all the children in the world, and secretly they tried to find the stars that were theirs, the bright stars telling the stories of their lives. Looking at the stars. Their grandfather's soothing voice continued, "If you look around, you can imagine that the stars make pictures. We can tell stories about the pictures. Since tonight is a fall night, we see the fall animals. See over there, a bear that once chased your father through the forest. Can you see the ladle toward the back of the bear? It tells the story of the delicious stew your mother makes." Over there is a lizard like the one I once caught at the water pond. Look at that lizard. And though the middle of it all runs the starry bright path of the Milky Way, leading you back home if you ever get lost. Knowing that their favorite part of the story was nearing, the children repeated their chorus, "Papi, how many stars are in the sky?" Patiently, the grandfather began, "Well, let's count them. Ariana, you count." Let's see how many stars they count. Sweet Ariana looked in the sky with the steady eyes and proudly proclaimed, "Look, a big one." As the other children smiled, the grandfather lovingly answered, "Yes, Ariana, you are so right. There is one big star in the sky." "Does anyone else want to count the stars?" Papi asked. Carlos answered, "I'm learning to count in school. Let me count. 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star, 6 star, 7 star, 8 star, 9 star, 10 stars. With a deep laugh, the grandfather said, "Yes, Carlos, there are 10 stars in the sky. But if we keep counting like that, we will never get to bed. Maria, do you want to count?" Maria's turn to count. Maria counted carefully. "I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 25, 35, 45, 55. "Shall I keep counting, Papi?" Chuckling softly, the grandfather said, Well, what do you think, children? Should Maria keep counting? That's a lot of counting. But the children knew that their grandfather had finally reached their favorite part. Together they shouted, "You tell us how many stars are in the sky. You count, Papi." With his calm voice, the grandfather said, "Look at the stars in the night sky. All my life I've been counting the stars in the sky, and now I finally know that there are 50 estrella in the sky. 50 stars. There are 50 stars in the sky," Papi says. And just as he had countless times before, the grandfather shook his head. "No, not the number 50, which does mean 50, but the words, which means infinity. That means there are so many stars that you cannot count them all. Your lives are like that too. There are so many things you can do or be, you can't count them all, just like you can't count all the stars." As he put his children to bed, the grandfather sang a lullaby. He sang it in Spanish just as he had heard it sung when he was a child. Friends, I don't know Spanish, so I'm not going to be able to sing this song. Do any of you know another language like Spanish? I know we all know English, but maybe some of our friends know Spanish. Bye, friends.